Part 5 of Christian Girl Gone Feral. How I went from a church program to people-pleasing wife, drowning in burnout and bogus mental health labels, to a spiritually awake millionaire who finally respects herself instead of abandons herself. Let's talk about my first and last real job. The place where my soul went to die just a little bit every single day. I found this job through somebody from church, so I thought it would be safe, the Lord's provision or whatever. A week after I started, I watched the woman who hired me get fired. The turnover at this place was insane. I was too naive to recognize that as a red flag of a toxic workplace. I didn't even know what a toxic workplace was. I lived in constant performance mode, paranoid about making a mistake because somebody would send an email to the entire company correcting your mistake, and then everybody would see that it was you who did it. It was humiliating the way they did this. And they only wanted to pay people $12 an hour, but they were also complaining that they couldn't find good people. And I started out there as a hustler. I was taking initiative on new projects because I really wanted to impress the boss. And eventually, I realized I wasn't going to get me very far. They were in the business of paying as little as possible, no matter what your contributions were. My work became so efficient. I was finishing it in a few hours, what took everyone else the whole day. But by the end, instead of doing other people's work, I was planning my exit, planning what school I was going to go to, what job I was going to start. And there was no way I was going to volunteer for more work when I was capped at $16 an hour, 10 days off a year, including my sick days, and I had to manage 3 employees. They thought they could just give me a fancy title and I'd be too dumb to realize that they were expecting my output to be quadruple without paying me quadruple. 2 weeks before they fired me, they gave me a stellar performance review. They literally told me how much they loved me all the time, and then it got ugly. My boss was a woman the same age as my mother. She put me in a room, she called me a pig, and she told me my butt, which was a size 4 at the time, was too big for me to be a personal trainer, which is what I wanted to become. She also tried to extort me. She did extort me. She told me that I'd been stealing time, and she demanded that I write a check to her personally for $2,000. And because I was a naive, people-pleasing church girl who trusted authority more than my own instincts, I actually did it. I wrote her that check. Meanwhile, everyone there was barely paying their bills while she rolled in at 3 p.m. leisurely a couple days a week in her Escalade like she was the CEO of Dysfunction Inc. And we got in trouble if we clocked in 1 minute late or left a minute early. We had to call our boss if we were running late, ask permission 2 weeks in advance to go to a doctor's appointment. I hated that so much. It was so humiliating. Like I was a little kid asking for permission. I just felt chained to a desk, giving the best hours of my life to people who didn't respect me. I will never thrive in an environment where I am not free. Ironically, that miserable job gave me the one skill that set my entire future in motion. I learned how to proofread, and I eventually refined it into a full-time freelance income, totally by accident. And that was the seed of the business that eventually made me millions of dollars. So in part 6, I'm going to tell you how getting fired from that job turned into the door I didn't know that I needed. I'll see you there.